Hey everyone, how's everyone doing today? Um, well, I was thinking today about the Big D fiasco, and it got me thinking. I was asking myself questions like, "Hey Witchy, hey Robin." I was asking myself questions like, "How often of an occurrence is this in the UK? What is hey Red Door? What's the what is murder versus manslaughter in the United Kingdom?" And the answers I got just by doing Google searches, I didn't like the answers I got. Hey, Billy. So, as we all know, Big D, Big Mouth, Big D got exposed for being a killer. He killed his wife, or common law wife, his girlfriend, whatever, whoever you want to call her, in cold blood, according to prosecutors. According to Crown prosecutors in Bristol, Big D takes the witness stand and tells a fascinating tale, which doesn't make much sense, does it? Hey, Michelle. Hey, Wyoming. Jack. The tale he says, so is a life sentence in the UK, does it mean life? So, someone I know in the UK, she's actually in Wales, by the way, tried to explain it to me like this. The UK, like Wales, England, Scotland, hey, Missy K, they don't have states. They have counties or districts. And most statutes that are passed, criminal statutes, are passed by Parliament in London. So the murder statutes, the burglary statutes, the rape statutes, they're all passed by Parliament. So the counties, so to speak, administer services, federal government services to the people. If that makes sense, I hope, I think I got that right. How the basic UK British government works, per se. But there's probably more to it. Hey, Michelle. So he's in. So in the US, we have degrees of murder. We have first-degree murder, second-degree murder. Some states have third-degree murder even, such as Minnesota. We remember the George Floyd incident where first-degree murder was an option, second-degree murder was an option, third-degree murder, and then there was manslaughter. So the jury juries in America have options oftentimes when dealing with murders. If this crime happened in America, Big D would be fucked. He would end up in prison for life or be on death row. Just being blunt, most states here aren't going to put up with a murder like that. And Jack is right. Each state law, each state in the U.S., the statutes vary. But for the most point, they're basically the same. So in the U.S., first-degree murder is either felony murder, where you commit a felony, which results in someone's death. So that means, hypothetically, you kidnap someone and they choke on a chicken bone. You're guilty of first-degree murder. And the second element of first-degree murder is premeditated murder. Murder with premeditated intent. So what that means is you had a plan to kill. You intended to kill the person. Hey, Rachel, good morning. So there's intent to kill. So the second-degree murder in the U.S. is typically, in most states, the same as first-degree murder. It's intentional murder. So the state would have to prove that you intended to kill somebody. But, however, they cannot prove premeditation. That you had enough time in your head to think it out. So that is second-degree murder. And another element to second-degree murder in many states is depraved indifference to human life. So what that means in America, folks, is you do something so dangerous, so reckless, that a reasonable human being knows that death can result. And you don't give a shit and do it anyway. So an example of second-degree murder would be going in the street, in a busy, crowded street, and shooting off a firearm. So reckless, so dangerous. You know death can result from it, right? You do it anyway. And someone ends up dead. That is second-degree murder under the depraved indifference to human life statute. Now, manslaughter in the United States is more of an unintentional homicide. There's no intent to kill. They call these murders more, what's the word I'm looking for? Heat of passion crimes. So in the UK, there is only one degree of murder, which is murder. So when you get arrested for murder in England, like Big D did, he got charged with murder. It was a murder charge. So I couldn't find on Google any degrees like first degree, second degree, third degree murder. I just found a common murder statute in Britain. And that's all there is. It's like it's a one size fits all murder statute, which is kind of strange. I was surprised to see that because I don't live there. I don't know much about British law. So let's explore what murder is in the UK. Murder is an offense under the common law of England and Wales. It is considered the most serious form of homicide, in which one person kills another with the intention to cause either death or serious injury unlawfully. The element of intentionality was originally termed malice of forethought. Although it required neither malice nor premeditation, Chapter 14 states that many killings done with a high degree of subjective recklessness were treated as murder from the 12th century right through until the 1974 decision in DPP versus Hyam. Because murder is generally defined in law as an intent to cause serious harm or injury, alone or with others, combined with a death arising from that intention, there are certain circumstances where a death will be treated as murder, even if the defendant did not wish to kill the actual victim. This is called transferred malice and arises in two common cases. The defendant intended serious harm to one or more persons, but the intended other person dies as a result. Several people share an intent to do serious harm, but the victim dies because of the action or any of those involved. For example, if another person goes further than expected or performs an unexpectedly lethal action. So, in the United Kingdom, here's another interesting paragraph. A further historical rule, the felony murder rule, was abolished in the Homicide Act of 1957. Until abolition, the effect of this rule has been to create murder offenses. In two cases, when manslaughter occurs during the course of a crime, it could, in certain cases, be automatically reclassified by law as murder, and that any deaths resulting from the acts of a criminal during the crime could cause culpability as murder on the part of all his or her fellow criminals. The effect of this rule is partly retained despite abolition. Since intent to kill is not necessary, intent, including common intent to cause serious injury, is sufficient for murder if death results. So, I'm not quite understanding this part, but they got rid of the felony murder rule in Britain. So if you commit armed robbery in Britain and the gun goes off, you can't be charged with felony murder. Interesting. This is how screwed up everybody the system in Britain is. Hey, Moon. So the felony murder rule was designed here to hold criminals accountable for acts so depraved such as someone who kidnaps someone and rapes them, and then they die as a result. It's just a hypothetical example, Jack. It's just a hypothetical example. So people in this country understand what I'm talking about. Okay. So so this article is on Wikipedia. So the laws changed over the 20th century. They have the Infanticide Act, that's the murder of children. They have the Suicide Pact, which is under Section 4 of the Homicide Act of 1957. The Diminished Responsibility Clause, the Loss of Control, Section 54 and 55 of the Coroners and Justice Act of 2009. So here we go. This is actually the part that's this is the same as in the US. So on the trial of an indictment for murder, a jury cannot return an alternative verdict to the offense charged in the indictment under Section 6.3 of the Criminal Law Act of 1967, except for the offenses listed below. So, manslaughter, So Big D was so an alternative verdict for murder is manslaughter. So another alternative verdict is causing grievous bodily harm with intent to do so. Contrary to Section 18 of the Offenses Against the Person Act of 1861. And then we have different types of I think child destruction is abortion, infanticide, Suicide Act of 1961. So here is the sentencing, which is very, very disturbing, people. So which one? Who who here thinks that a life sentence? Hey Gladys, who thinks in the United Kingdom that life means life? Anyone? Does life mean life in the UK? No, it doesn't. Sorry, everyone. It rarely means it rare. 90% of murders in the United Kingdom life doesn't mean life. That's the sad part, everyone. So what Moon's saying is life in Missouri is a minimum of 25 years. Now, Susan Smith, everyone remembers Susan Smith, right, everyone? She killed her ouch, Moon. Damn. So, yeah, she drove him in the lake, said a black man hijacked her car. They had this big manhunt in 1994. She killed 2 of her kids. And she has to do 30 years before she goes up for parole. This is South Carolina, everyone. The state asked for the death penalty, but the jury, there's a few on the jury that said, They probably had sympathy. Because she was a woman. So Susan Smith goes up for parole next year. Sad, isn't it? So let's go through the sentencing for murder in the UK. So it's similar to the US in its broken system. So a minimum term, often called a tariff, set by the judge, is set. We know what that means. And this could be appealed by the prosecution if considered unduly lenient. And I think the Attorney General's office can do that, according to this article here in the UK. Until otherwise decided, continuing incarceration running from expiry of the minimum term until the parole board considers the person may safely be released on license upon conditions known as early release provisions, based on consideration of the risks posed to the public by the person. So at any time, the license may be revoked and the offender recalled to prison until it's considered safe to release him or her again on license. This element does, in real sense, represent a life sentence and affords a degree of ongoing deterrence and improved public safety after release. All right, whatever, you know. So here we go. If you're under 18 years of age and you commit murder, all right, you get a 12-year minimum in jail. 12 years. 12 years and you go up for parole. I'm not kidding you. Any other murder committed by a person 18 years or over is a 15-year minimum. So now we're going to go into special circumstances. Since the UK doesn't have the death penalty, you will get a 25-year minimum starting point if you take a weapon to the scene of the crime to commit your murder. So you'll get an extra 10 years added on if the prosecution can prove you took a weapon to the scene. Okay? Now, here we go. 30-year minimum starting point if the murder was of a police officer or prison officer. The murder was used with a gun, a firearm, or explosive. The murder was done for financial gain or in furtherance of a robbery or burglary, or murder for hire. A murder intended to obstruct and interfere with the course of justice. A murder involving sexual or sadistic conduct. The murder of two or more persons. A murder that is racially or religiously aggravated or aggravated by sexual orientation, aka a hate crime. So that's what you get. You get a 30-year minimum for anything with those aggravating circumstances. So only a few % of crimes get a whole life sentence. where there's no parole. And I can't find anything where those circumstances are listed. It's probably serial killers or something like that. But I don't know because it's not in this article, or I can't find it online. I'd probably have to do more research on this. Okay, Michelle K. I understand that. I didn't agree with it in the past, Michelle, because of that very same reason. Yeah, I absolutely agree with some people on that very same reason. But if they have forensic evidence, indisputable, that they did it, or it was caught on tape, I won't be crying if they're put in the gas chamber or put on the gurney. Okay, that's fine. Everyone has the right to their opinion. It's everyone. But at the same time, not everyone deserves the death penalty either. So it's reserved for the worst of the worst offenders that have no respect for yeah, Red Door, you're absolutely right on that, on those facts. And the problem with that is we didn't have DNA back then. We didn't have advanced forensics. So these things happened, sadly. And the Innocence Project is a good thing because if someone is innocent and serving time in jail, they should be released. There's no need. It serves no logical purpose to have an innocent person in prison. It serves no, it doesn't serve any it serves society nothing. And it dumbfounds me that some of these prosecutors fight to keep these people in prison when evidence shows they didn't do it. But here, with Big D, he admits he did it. He took, let me read the newspaper article here, the Gazette and Herald. Kimber said from the witness box that the argument progressed. He went into the kitchen and he got a 7-inch knife and went back into the living room and jokingly lunged at Miss Vertans. Jokingly. Right. Kimber told the jury that after that he was aware that he stabbed a number of times, but he could not remember doing it. And here's the scary quote here. I had no feelings whatsoever, no emotion, no thoughts whatsoever. That's quite sociopathic, Big D. No feelings, no emotion, no thoughts whatsoever. That's how sociopaths feel. They have no feelings, they have no emotions, no real thoughts whatsoever. So, what you're telling the jury is you're a sociopath or a psychopath. You have a personality disorder, asshole. And he did it because his girlfriend or common law wife was leaving him and threatening to take custody away. He wasn't going to get custody. That's why Big D did what he did. This is according to Crown Prosecution Services. Yeah, I don't know how that is in the UK. Parole is, Michelle K. But here, you're up for early release. You have to admit that crime and show regrets. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Jax. So let me put this up on screen. Newspaper article so my haters can see what we're all reading from, where we're getting our facts. See, everyone, this is a newspaper. This is called a newspaper article. This is a news report of what happened in court. A brief summary. Hey, Lindsay. So this is a brief summary of what Big D testified to during his retrial. So we're basing our opinions based on the facts. So he decides to to speak out. I didn't really care to listen to what he had to say. In my opinion, he lied in court. He lied to the jury. He got off easy. As I said before, if it happened here, it would have been an totally different experience for him. But even Amy had a point the other day. If you stab somebody in the back or shoot them in the back, even if they're breaking in, it's a sign that they're running away or they're not a threat. So you stab someone in the back 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you read in this newspaper article, The jury heard on that day that Miss Vertan's death in March of 1997, the couple has been to court to discuss custody of their daughter, Sarah Jane, 21 months. So in the evening, after Kimber returned, after 4 hours in the pub, a heated argument began. So you see there. So he says, here's the top one. I snapped. I completely lost it. She has been going at me for an hour or an hour and a half. Jokingly lunged with a knife, a 7-inch knife. Lunging at someone is not with a knife is no joke. So here we go. So defense counsel Neil Ford, Queen's counsel, said his defense is based on reducing Kimber's murder conviction to manslaughter on grounds of provocation and diminished responsibility. Really? So let's read what provocation means under British law, shall we? So in British law, provocation is when a person is considered to have committed a criminal act partly because the preceding act of events might cause a reasonable individual to lose control. This makes them less morally culpable than if the act was premeditated and done out of pure malice. It affects the quality of the actor's state of mind as an indicator of moral blameworthiness. So, in other words, so what would cause a reasonable person? What would cause one of you in my chat who is reasonable minded to lose control? It says under this definition, reasonable person, a reasonable individual. A reasonable individual is not going to believe that aliens from Mars did it. Green Martians from Mars came down and killed her. I didn't do it. Or, get a load of this one. Well, I did it, but I was possessed by demons. And I lost control. Is that reasonable? Would a reasonable person, would that cause a reasonable person? Is that a reasonable individual? Think about that. You got a point there, Gladys. If someone hurt someone in your family, that might cause you to lose control. Yeah, you got a point there, Jack. Reasonable person, do those exist in woke 2023? I'm serious, because Mm-hmm. I tend to agree with you, Jax, on that. I don't care what his excuse is. Oh, I was drunk. I came home from the pub. They call them pubs over in the UK. And they had an argument over child custody, and he lost control. I didn't buy it. He got mad. Oh, I'm sure he got mad, Jax. I'm sure he got really mad. But if you really look at this testimony that's being reported in the newspaper, he had enough mind, sense, state of mind, to think, go into the kitchen, grab a 7-inch knife. While she's probably while she has her back turned, and she's probably pissed off too, and she's walking right out. And he just jokingly lunges at her with it 9 times. Right? And it's no joke. He gave that woman a death sentence that day. He gave a mother a death sentence because he had to have control. That's just my opinion. But, and then in the back. What a coward. Yeah. Right? Michelle? You should be able to tell his story, but he silenced her. She can't tell her story. Just like the Casey Anthony thing, right? The Village of Idiots, 12 dumb idiots too scared of not getting out of jury duty. Oh. So let's see what manslaughter actually is. So let's read the definition of manslaughter. So the Drunken Donut says we can't call this guy Big D a murderer because the charges were reduced to manslaughter. So it's looking like manslaughter is almost the same thing in the US than it is over there. So in the English law of homicide, manslaughter is a less serious offense than murder. In the differential being between levels of fault based on the mens rea, Latin for guilty mind, or by reason of partial defense. In England and Wales, a common practice to prefer a charge of murder with the judge or defense able to introduce manslaughter as an option. See alternative verdict. The jury then decides whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty of either murder or manslaughter. On a conviction for manslaughter, sentencing is at the judge's discretion. Whether a sentence of life imprisonment is mandatory on a conviction for murder. Manslaughter may be voluntary or involuntary, depending on whether the accused has the required mens rea for murder. Okay. So they have voluntary manslaughter with a diminished capacity or diminished responsibility. Abnormal mind. Okay. And that provocation, again, loss of control. Or suicide pacts that go wrong. Okay, that's manslaughter in the UK. Okay, involuntary manslaughter. And then they have manslaughter by gross negligence. Death by dangerous driving. Manslaughter by unlawful and dangerous act. Okay. So the recommended offense range for manslaughter is 3 to 20 years in custody. The maximum is life imprisonment. So it's not giving me any sentencing guidelines as they did for murder here. So of course, if it says life imprisonment, it probably goes under the same minimums as the murder statutes do. And those are quite pathetic. That they're even more light slaps on the wrist than in the US. Because most of the time you get at least 15, at least a 20-year minimum, 25-year minimum before you go up for parole. In most states. Moon said for second degree murder in her state, it's a 25-year maximum. So she probably knows the law there. So hold on, I'm having an issue. Okay, now it's back. Okay. Yeah. So I watched Nancy Grace a long time ago when she was on the air, and she taught me a few things on law. And premeditation can be formed in a blink of an eye. You can think of something within a minute or two. There was the prosecutor in the Betty Broderick case during her closing argument who said she held up the gun. She loaded it. She opened up the barrel. She put in the bullets and she shot and she emptied the entire thing. That was her argument for first degree murder. And she killed 2 people. And then she pulled the foam out of the wall so they couldn't call for help. That was the argument they made during the Betty Broderick trial. So we got this guy, Big D, who people are still defending, by the way, who got lucky by an appeals court in London. So in July 1998, I got an ad. Hold on. All right. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Unfortunately, drunk drivers kill people every day, hardly themselves. So he took the stand and said, I just started shaking. Everything I had kept inside from previous months came out. I snapped. I completely lost it. She has been going at me for an hour and a half. So why didn't you walk out of the room? So this statement right here, Kimber said from the witness box that the argument progressed. He went into the kitchen and got a 7-inch knife and went into the living room and jokingly lunged at Miss Vertans. It's no joke, Big D. It's no fucking joke. Is anyone laughing? Does anyone think it's funny? So the next statement contradicts the next. Kimber told the jury that after so Kimber told the jury that he was aware that he stabbed her a number of times but could not remember it. So he says he could remember that he was aware that he stabbed her. And here's I'm going to double down on this. He had no feelings whatsoever, no emotion, no thoughts whatsoever. So bar worker, here's another interesting fact. Bar worker Emma Booth told the court that Kimber has told her he could kill his wife and claimed insanity. That's quite interesting, isn't it, everyone? So he brags to the bartender. He brags to his bartender while drunk. Brags to the bartender. Brags to his bartender. I can kill her. And just claim insanity. Now, Nancy Grace said one thing on her show about the I'm drunk excuse. Now, in the United States, it doesn't get you off the hook. It's not a legal defense. You can't claim here, oh, I was drunk, please acquit me. No, it's not how it works. The only thing you might be able to get away with, I was high or I was drunk, is I didn't have the mental capacity to premeditate a crime. That's the only thing that defense is allowed in a court of law in America to do. I'm not sure how it works in the UK. I'm not a lawyer. I don't live in the UK. I can't say for 100% certain. I'm just looking through a murder statute and a manslaughter statute and looking up simple legal definitions to what they mean in England. Mm-hmm. Yeah, PB&J, you're 100% right. So we have a guy here that can't take responsibility for anything. He's saying, oh, you can't listen to the facts. You don't know what happened. Well, you testified on the witness stand, dumbass. And we're listening. And you make no fucking sense. Yeah, provocation in the UK, Red Door, is what would cause a reasonable person to lose control? Or what would, okay, so what would make a reasonable person lose their temper and see red? That's provocation defense in the United Kingdom. Like it or not, no reasonable person getting drunk so you can claim you're drunk in the UK or something. I don't know what the fuck is going on with their courts. But our courts are sometimes a joke too, depending on which state it is. Because as Michelle correctly pointed out, there are people in our prisons that didn't do a damn thing wrong, and they are still sitting in prison. And even when there's evidence to contradict their guilt, we have state prosecutors who waste taxpayers' money on fighting the release. That's right, everyone. We have state prosecutors on state payrolls and county payrolls in the United States who sit there and fight to keep innocent people behind bars. And that's the honest truth. Why? Because it's politics. They think they got a trial. They don't make mistakes. But they're human beings. They say the courts make, they have this ruling. I don't agree with it. But they have this ruling that evidence could have been discovered at trial. The new evidence has to be something that you couldn't just discover back then. There's always a hurdle getting innocent people out of prison. And even when the evidence comes out, the new evidence, we have these elected DAs who fight to keep these people in jail. So we have some innocent people that served more time in jail for crimes they didn't commit. They did more time than this guy did. They did more time in an American prison than this guy did. And this is a damn fucking disgrace. Now, okay, let's play devil's advocate for a second. Okay, his charge was reduced to manslaughter. All right. I read the judge had leeway with the sentence. The judge has some leeway. With Big D's sentence. Why not give him 15 to 20 years in prison? At least there would have been some measure. At least he would have done more time. Just saying, UK has this ridiculous policy of let him go. Yeah, we had one guy released in Texas. I think he did 20 years for a crime he didn't commit. Michelle K. He did 20 years for a crime he didn't do. $20 years. One guy that got paroled for murder. Okay, I don't know if I agree with the parole board's decision. All right. He did 35 years before he got out. Now, 4 fucking years or 5 years or something, and he got out for cold-blooded murder. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Red Door Woman. Just another psychopath let into society, let loose in society. And he says, I can't remember killing wife. But he can remember, let's go up here. See, he says he can't remember killing wife. But then he says, he tells jury he was aware that he stabbed her a number of times, but couldn't remember doing it. He contradicts himself. He's a damn fucking liar. He must have had a bunch of idiots as jurors. Well, the Casey Anthony trial was a circus. I'll tell you that. Her Casey Anthony's head lawyer Jose Baez was a clown. He wasn't that good of a lawyer in the lawyering department, as I could see. Because I was on Facebook after the trial, and nobody could agree he was a good lawyer. Maybe it was we were all mad and she got acquitted, but nobody liked Jose Baez or Casey Anthony. The jury didn't care about her lies or whatever. However, I will give Jose Baez this credit. He sure did pick a dumb jury. He did do that right. Sometimes if you can't fight the evidence, pick 12 stupid citizens and confuse them to the point. 12 idiots. They don't get this and that. You get them so confused with the evidence, throw whatever shit up throw pizza, throw spaghetti up at the wall, see what sticks, see what falls off, confuse the hell out of them. And then when they get back into the jury room, they don't know what's what. Can't fight the mountain of evidence, confuse the shit out of them. Strategy. And unfortunately, it worked. I wouldn't call it good lawyering, because in my opinion, the state made its case. They proved she did it. Maybe not murder one, maybe not first degree. They couldn't prove the premeditation part, but they were able to prove malice or intent, or maybe not even intent to commit murder. They could at least find her guilty of manslaughter. Because who in their right minds throws their kid in the trunk of their car and lets them decompose in the Florida heat? And then the mother, and then Casey's mother calls the police after 31 days and says that it smells like there's a goddamn dead body in the damn car, in the trunk. So this is maybe another case of Queen's Counsel confusing a jury. Well, my client was drunk. He didn't know what he was doing. He was pissed off. True, PB&J. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct on that one. So they have this thing, and they have this thing now. Is let's ban guns. We had a mass shooting today at a university over in Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill's almost in between me and Jamie. And some people are probably gonna cry, let's ban guns, let's have more gun control. But here's the thing, Red Door woman's right. Why they're just gonna go to knives or firebombing material. They're gonna find something easy and new that's just as easy to conceal, just as violent, to commit murder. People are insane these days. You think taking people's guns is going to stop the violence? Think again. Look at this Big D guy. He stabbed his girlfriend or common law wife 9 times in the back. He didn't need a gun to commit murder. He didn't need a firearm to commit his crime. But is rage an excuse, Michelle K? Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Mm-hmm. But he's still a murderer. And we got TT and we got MKB and the broken hip. And we got the drunken donut. All over there defending him. When he has zero respect for anyone but himself. So what did Big D do when he came over here? He found he was looking for hate communities and a drama community with it. No, let's rephrase that. Let's put a drama community with a hate community. Let's just put it that way. You know, everyone in my chat knows what I mean by that. So they were finding, so Big D was looking for a drama community where they hate and bully people. He was finding the instigators, the real bottom feeders. Well, he found them. Well, I got to give Big D some credit here. He found the real bottom feeders. He found TT. He found the Drunken Donut, Lola, Sophie, Tits Up, X. He found the best in and we can't forget Miss Scotty, Miss Skanky Pants, can we? He found the psychos, the ones who do the bullying and the harassment, and the ones who go real life around here. No morals, selective outrage, you name it. And he decided to put his anchor down. And guess what? They're all saying it's no big deal what he did. At least he has a brain with that. He had a brain the second time or third time around when he decided my murder defense didn't go through. The first time, let's go for manslaughter this time. Yeah, we have TT who sits there claims to be morally superior to everyone else, and then decides, well, I don't like someone. I hate someone. Damn her, right? Oh, I hate her. Now let me go real life on her. Let me dox her and but when she did that, she didn't do a background check. Guess what she did? She contacted Lindsay's ex, who is a convicted sex offender, and endangered the lives of two people. She endangered the life of a minor child. She endangered Lindsay. I don't know if it's an ex or a family member. I don't know the whole story about the background of that. But yeah, TT decided to go real life and then gives the Scuds bucket, a convicted sex offender, on the sex offender registry, a platform to speak. So of course TT is gonna stick up for this guy. Of course she's gonna do that. Of course. Oh, an ex. Oh, Miss Extinct Tube and Tits Up or Soul Sister, whoever you want to call her now. She they're not welcome many places from what I'm hearing now. So they're defending I'm hearing that they're defending Big D because yeah, not everyone wants them around. Huh? Would you want X the likes of X and Tits around? Ew, right? Would you want them around you? Nah, not me. But they continue on the same campaign too. They go after Jamie. They go after everyone in this camp over here. And they have no shame. It's always the same bullshit. Oh, and by the way, nice try, Drunken Donut. I'll just say that. With your little trick you try to play. Yeah, I fixed that little thing. So go shove it. So So today I wanted to explain the British legal system compared to the American one. Yeah, both systems absolutely have problems. I wanted to look at this whole fiasco at a whole different angle. So I wanted to see if, are these light sentences common? These slaps on the wrist? Or is this just a anomaly? Or something rare? If you did this, Big D, in the US, in most states, you'd be doing a life sentence. Or you'd be up for the death sentence. And probably 8 times out of 10, you'd be on death row. If you did it here, if it was a death penalty state, just being 100% real, 100% blunt, because if you stab someone in the back, or they're facing in a certain direction, the medical examiner is going to assume that they're trying to leave, or yeah. And stabbing someone in the back is cowardly. Stabbing someone in the back is not being a gentleman. You contradicted Big D contradicted himself in court, according to what I'm reading in the newspapers, the online articles, due to his own words on the witness stand. Not just the accusations made by the prosecution, his own words. It's just like these trolls on here. They make all this shit up all the time. And 99% of the time, it doesn't even make any sense. So an old saying from Judge Judy: if it doesn't make sense, it's not true. Or another time, Judge Judy said to a person in her courtroom, it doesn't make sense. And then someone added a few things and says, that's what's missing. You're not telling me the whole story. Yeah, these trolls, when they lie, they can't even make their tall tales make any sense. Let this judge tell it like it is.
And when you tell one lie, you got to remember the 100 lies that you told to cover that lie up.
That wasn't no lie.
Be quiet and don't talk.
You see? She's absolutely right, Judge Vonda Evans. That speech is 100% correct. When you tell one lie, you got to tell another lie to cover that lie up. And remember those lies you told. So why don't you trolls start telling the truth? You see, on here, I don't have to sit here and lie to everyone. There's no lies to remember. There's nothing to remember. There's no lies. I don't have to, you just tell the truth. And don't make things up because, oh, this one triggered you on the internet. Or that one triggered you. I'm pissed. I'm going to make some shit up. And then you wonder when you get your ass debunked, and then you cry again, I got exposed for being the liar that I am, that they are. And then they cry again. How dare you? And they stomp their feet. And the cycle continues. If they weren't lying in the first place, there would be nothing to debunk. So Big D, you did this to yourself. You came over here, you came to the true crime community. Yeah, you did something right. You found the bottom feeders that will defend you. Because they have hate boners for a few of us over here at the Legion. But here's something you don't know about them over there. They're petty as shit. Hey Breezy. They're petty as shit over there. They'll turn on each other soon enough. We're just patiently waiting for that to happen. So you decided to walk over there. You decided to talk some shit about us. Okay. That's fine. Decided to make some false accusations to be part of the crowd. But you're just as bad as they are. And you killed somebody in cold blood. You killed somebody. No apologies to us. Oh, no explanations. Until now. You lied to a jury. You lied under oath. I'm sure they have it. I'm sure they have they swear you in a British courtroom too. They ask you to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So you lied, making excuses for yourself on the witness stand. Oh, I was drunk. It's not my fault because I was drunk. Or she called me a few names. It's all her fault. Now you're over here like, okay, what is it, 25 years later? Crying it's all our fault. Crying things are all our fault. Everything's Noodle's fault. Everything's Jamie's fault. Everything's Amber's fault. you call Amber a streetwalker. You support sexualizing her child. You support Lola and Sophie in her endeavor to be the biggest bitch you can be on here. So hey, once a murderer, always a murderer. That's just my opinion. I'm sure everyone in here has one. So, all right, everyone, I'm gonna shut it down for tonight. So I have the membership link pinned to the top if anyone wants to sit there and join. So I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. So until next time, bye bye, everyone.